Early retirement before the age of 65 and the freedom that comes with it might be the most typical cubicle daydream. However, if life intervenes, you might be forced to retire sooner than you had anticipated. In any case, the information we are going to provide you will help you prepare for early retirement and cover all the necessary ground. So get ready to learn how to retire fast in a good manner. What is the age for early retirement? Retiring in one's 40s, 50s, or even earlier is how many people who pursue early retirement define the term. To travel, carve out time for passion projects, or just stop working, they want to retire. FIRE stands for Financial Independence and Retirement Early, and this movement is frequently referred to as such. Early retirement has essentially been redefined by the FIRE movement, which emphasizes having the financial freedom to choose when, how, and for whom you work instead of simply quitting your job. Ironically, however, retiring early means putting in a lot of work because the earliest you can begin receiving Social Security benefits is at age 62. Instead, you must self-fund your retirement. If you begin receiving Social Security benefits prior to reaching full retirement age, which is either 66 or 67 depending on your birth year, your monthly benefit will be reduced. Depending on how close you are to reaching full retirement age, that monthly reduction in benefits could result in a reduction of your Social Security benefits by up to 30%. 5 steps to an early retirement. 1. Modify your budget as it is currently. Here's where that work comes in. Regardless of how you look at it, retiring early requires some adjustments to the way current you makes and spends money so future you can unwind. And for many people, that entails spending only what is absolutely necessary. Many people who want to retire early desire to survive on 50% of their income or less. The remainder is put towards savings. FIRE enthusiasts employ a variety of spending reduction techniques to reach this goal, from the obvious to the insane. Eliminating debt is essential, as is reducing both big and small expenses, even debt that is conventionally regarded as good, like mortgage loans. You should think of innovative ways to reduce your spending on utilities, food, housing, and transportation. Own a bicycle, please? To ride it, get ready. It's a good idea to look for ways to earn some extra money that you can put right into your savings account for an early retirement. FIRE supporters can be found in a variety of groups, but there are 3 main ones: the Fat FIRE group and the Lean FIRE group, who both strive to lead as healthy lives as possible. Followers of Fat FIRE place more emphasis on boosting their income through investments or side jobs so they can enjoy a comfortable lifestyle and retire early. There's also Barista FIRE, which focuses on saving enough money so that one can retire and work whenever one wants and in a situation that suits them. Don't get rid of the car just yet if that appeals to you more. When you start driving for Lyft, you'll need it. 2. Estimate your yearly retirement expenses. The good news is that you're probably accustomed to making do with a small portion of your income after step 1. The assumption being that you will continue to do so results in a reduction in the amount of money required for retirement. Create a retirement spending estimate to demonstrate your point. To do that, examine your current monthly spending and decide what will decrease, what might increase, and what might be added or completely eliminated. You can calculate your annual retirement needs by adding up your financial monthly expenses projections and multiplying by 12. We suggest raising it by 10% to 20% to give yourself some leeway in order to make it truly magical. You'll never know when you want to spend a lot of money on a haircut. Taxes and health insurance are 2 items that are commonly forgotten during this calculation, and both of which could put an early end to your early retirement. Many plans have significant health care issues, especially for those who receive pre-retirement health insurance through their place of employment. Your policy will be left behind if you quit that job. If you're married and your spouse is still employed, one possible replacement is to sashay onto their schedule. Alternatives include looking for a plan on healthcare.gov or requiring private insurance. Alternatively, you could see if you qualify for group coverage through an industry association or search for part-time work that comes with health insurance. Some employers offer health insurance to part-time employees. It is probably best to use COBRA as a last resort. COBRA is an expensive way to temporarily continue your employer-sponsored insurance by paying all of the premiums yourself. And we now come to everyone's favorite topic, taxes. As always, lowering them is the aim. To achieve that, you must plan how and when to withdraw money from your investment accounts. A lot of tax-advantaged retirement accounts, such as 401ks and IRAs, have restrictions on when you can take qualified distributions, typically requiring a minimum age of 59.5 to avoid taxes and penalties. Keep this in mind. Both IRAs are an exception, allowing you to distribute contributions but not earnings at any time. The guidelines for early distribution have a few exceptions. One strategy used frequently by early retirees is to begin a series of substantially equal periodic distributions, which are permitted by the IRS provided you adhere to certain guidelines. To create a plan for using your investments while avoiding taxes and penalties when you can, you might think about consulting a financial planner. How should you pick a financial planner? 3. Determine how much money you need to save overall. Due to some general guidelines that early retirees follow, the work you did to define your spending has already allowed you to complete this one. The first is the Rule of 25. Before retiring, you should have saved up 25 times your anticipated yearly expenses. In other words, if you intend to spend $30,000 in your first year of retirement, you should have $750,000 invested when you quit your job. $50,000? You'll need $1,250,000. To get that budget under control, incidentally, is a good motivational tool. The rule assumes that your retirement fund is invested to continue growing because due to inflation, your spending will increase by at least a small amount each year and your investments need to keep up with that increase. The rule presupposes that you have your retirement fund invested to continue growing because due to inflation, your spending will rise at least slightly each year and you need to ensure that your investments are able to match that growth. And that brings us to the second guideline. According to the 4% rule, you can take 4% of your invested savings during the first year of retirement. You then receive that sum with inflation taken into account. The 4% rule originated from studies conducted in the 1990s that compared various withdrawal strategies to previous market conditions. Depending on your investments, risk tolerance, and market conditions at the time of retirement, you might want to adopt a more or less cautious strategy. But there is still this caveat. Neither of these guidelines is foolproof. Finding a financial advisor who would guarantee your results would be difficult. However, they are typically regarded as sensible tactics. If you intend to rely on savings from your tax-deferred retirement accounts, keep in mind that taking withdrawals prior to age 59.5, which is considered early retirement, may result in income taxes and penalties. However, you are never penalized for taking money out of a brokerage account. 4. Make growth-oriented investments. At the risk of stating the obvious, retiring early means that 1. You have a shorter period during which you can save, and 2. You have a longer period during which the money you've saved needs to support your spending. You will have the best friend in both of those mean investment returns. A balanced portfolio geared toward long-term growth is what you should invest in if you want to get the best returns. If you can stomach it, think about using low-cost index funds with stock-heavy allocation. You might believe that the converse is accurate. You should take less risk because you have a shorter time horizon before retiring. But it's crucial to keep in mind that the period of time you spend in retirement should be included in that horizon. You may be retired for 50 or 60 years, in which case you'll need your money to continue to grow. When the time comes for you to retire, you'll probably want to move a small portion of your savings into safer, more liquid havens so you can access it without having to worry about losing money on investments. You could do that with your expenses from the past year or two. For your money to grow and support that 4% distribution rate mentioned earlier, the remainder should be invested, gradually shifting to cash as needed. Number 5. Maintain financial restraint. When calculating how much you'll spend in retirement, you've put in a fair amount of work. Realistically adhering to that estimate will be the most difficult task. You throw yourself a retirement party as a small first step. Then, with some spare time on your hands, remember, you're retired, you decide to take a trip, aimlessly browse the mall, learn to cook fine cuisine, or get a dog. That 4% has a 1 in front of it all of a sudden. Don't do that. Not to be obvious, but the 4% rule only functions if you follow it. It's intended to support small increases in spending up to the rate of inflation, but not much more. Your risk of running out of money rises with each increase in spending, especially recurring costs like a new debt payment. It goes without saying, but we'll say it anyway. For the majority of people, running out of money means returning to work. So think wisely if you want to keep retired. Want to learn more of such handy advice? Not to worry. All you have to do is like the video, click the subscribe button, and hit the bell icon so you don't get left away from the path of financial freedom.